On the road this week, we take a sneak peek at a Volvo that does something really unusual. It avoids an accident all by itself. Phil's fallen head over heels for a second-hand luxury car, and Dr. Chris makes sure we're all fit to drive.
Prestige cars, BMWs, Mercedes-Benz, you name it, I love them. The one behind me is a 1 Series. You're looking at around 40,000 entry level. Maintenance costs no more than your average family car really. This one here, 10 years older than the one behind me, and the cost of this, would you believe, 15 grand. That's not much when you consider it's fully optioned. Fully optioned or not, $15,000 is still a lot of money in anyone's language. So what do you get for your money? Well, of course, you get the famous BMW name. You can say to your friends, hey, I'll drive in my BMW. Sounds better than saying in my Holden or rusted out old Toyota, doesn't it? All jokes aside, this is a car that really is pure driving pleasure. And like all BMWs, this one has independent suspension all round. Well, I'd love to talk and look at all the glorious bits on the outside. Let's take it for a drive. Now, this particular car, 4-cylinder, 318. It's called the E because it has the executive leather interior. 5-speed manual transmission. I love the gearbox in these cars. They're almost clunky, but not really clunky because it does exactly what you want it to. Indicator on the left-hand side of the steering column, where it should be, as far as I'm concerned. And off we go. Nice responsive engine, plenty of power. Most of the power in these things are around about the 3 to 4,000 RPM mark. That's where most of the torque is. But the thing I really like about this car is its fuel economy. 800 kilometres on a country run out of a tank of fuel, and that's 55 litres, or 600 around town. It's pretty hard to take, isn't it? This particular car is running non-standard 8-inch alloy rims on the front and 9-inch on the rear. If there was one major thing I'd like to point out about most BMWs, it's the lifespan of their Bavarian-built engines. It's not uncommon to get a massive 600,000 kilometres or 30 years worth of trouble-free motoring from a Beamer. The bottom line is this: for a car that cost $35,000 10 years ago, and now with only 120,000 kilometres on the clock, I'd say this car has about 40 years of happy motoring left. That is, of course, if our current oil reserves don't run out before then. If they do, I guess I can park it in the garage and look at it on a Sunday afternoon and just remember those days gone by.
As our roads become more and more clogged with cars, trucks and other forms of road transport, it's definite that accidents are going to occur. The most common type of accident on these slow-moving, almost gridlocked roads is for nose-to-tail collision. Swedish car manufacturer Volvo is a long way down the road to removing the human error that is the cause of this type of accident. They're developing a forward-looking sensor system that applies the brakes for you.
The system works that we have a optical sensor placed in the top of the windshield, which monitors the traffic in front of the vehicle. And when we see a hazardous situation close to collision, we intervene with the brakes and avoid the collision.
This new system is designed with low-speed traffic cues in mind, as this is generally a time when the driver is bored with waiting and not performing optimally.
The uniqueness in this system lies in us preventing the accident instead of dealing with the consequences of it.
With a system like this eventually appearing in all cars and trucks, the old saying, prevention is better than cure, is true, and there's a flow-on effect like lower insurance claims.
The ambitions with the system is, of course, to drastically lower these type of city traffic queue collisions, and our ambition is actually 50% reduction.
The aim of the system isn't so much to eliminate collisions, but to reduce the personal trauma associated with low-speed impacts.
Of course it will minimize the collisions, but it's actually the risk for whiplash injuries in these type of collisions and the very large insurance costs that are involved in these type of collisions. That is the real point.
There's no denying that increased insurance costs are an added burden to the motorists the world over. However, this isn't the only motive for auto manufacturers to look at new developments in technology in the quest to save lives and to minimise injuries.
In Sweden we have had a fairly long tradition of research into the field of whiplash. We have accepted whiplash as a major problem in traffic. So we have done epidemiological studies seeing what is the frequency of this injury. And from that we have also seen that car manufacturers have started to look at solutions to protect from whiplash. We have also in Sweden developed the research and development tools needed in form of a good crash test dummy developed especially for whiplash protection assessment.
Whiplash protection and a system that allows the vehicle to take control in certain conditions goes some way towards the future of the car that will eventually drive itself. This is just the beginning.
We hope to be able to introduce this system in production vehicles within 2 years.